Hello everybody, welcome back to Spyro the Dragon, and we are doing the next boss level, which is Dr. Shemp, and we have more of these big mamas, as I call them, and I just noticed this blue gem back there. Good job, me in the past, at picking that up. And yeah, so these big mamas, they have little minions, and they spank them, and they run at you. You actually don't even need to hit them. They will run off of the cliff and produce a tasty gem for you, if you just avoid them. But obviously, it's kind of recommended that you hit them. And this one can fake you out. This one, you know, she's sneaky, this mom. She's a sneaky mom. She's hiding in the corner with her little buddy, which is very crafty of her. So yeah, this is the next iteration of Big Mama. I'll call them Big Spankin' Mamas. And that's what that is. Nobody tell me what the actual name of the enemy is, of that enemy is, by the way. I don't know if the enemies, if like every single one has its own little name, you know. I know that most generally, like, the majority of them are supposed to be known as Norks, like the little frog boys, which I take to be just, like, monsters, basically. But I don't know. But I don't know if, like, every single one has a different one. Like, this Nork is called Blorky, and this Nork is called, you know, Big Dong or whatever. Also, I don't know why, but when I played this as a kid, or I remember when God damn it. Okay, let's figure out where we want to start the sentence. When I was playing through this before this LP, like, you know, a couple weeks ago, for some reason I remembered from my first time playing it as, you know, not a kid, but younger, that the dude's name was Ganasty Gnork, or at least Gnork. Like, I remembered characters saying it that way, but I am fairly certain now that that's not the case. They pretty much all say Nork. If any of them say Gnork, then I haven't seen them. Maybe I'm just a dumbass and I just thought that that's what it was, because that's how I probably said it. I am the master of assuming things are pronounced not the way that they actually are. Anyway, here's Dr. Shemp. He's a, you know, big guy, and he thinks he's hot shit because he has armor, but he doesn't really have much of a fight put up against him. All I wanted was to glide down to the fucking lower part so I could get the gem, but of course that's not gonna happen. I like his metal Crocs, his metal sandals that he wears. But yeah, he thinks he's hot shit because he got metal armor, but he didn't cover his little booty. And yeah, he'll, after he's doing his little spin around thing, he'll squish you if you're not quick, so gotta be quick. And I just never get this part right. I also like that little thing. He's not doing it all the way, but whenever he hits you, he'll do that little finger gun thing and go boom. And I don't know, I think it's funny. This game is very, like, silly and charming in a way that most games aren't really anymore. Like, it was really only a thing in the 90s with these sorts of platformer games where, you know, it was like, I don't know, I don't know what to say, like, you know, them showing their butt in the tent, and at the beginning when he says, like, also Nasty Nork is ugly, and shit like that. It's, you know, it's not like side-splitting hilarity, but it's nice. It's just nice. This is a nice game. I think that might be the best, and I don't mean it in a, you know, oh yeah, I forgot I have sparks, so I have to touch these by myself like a moron. I have no idea where other gems could be. I'm assuming there are 300. I don't know where they are. If you want to tell me, go ahead. Also, I keep reading it as Dr. Sheep. But anywho, we are now going on to the last thing we have to do. I kind of deliberately saved this for last. It's also just sort of the last thing in the order of this overworld area of the Peacekeepers place. But it's our first flying mission. So this will obviously be familiar to people who know about the game, but if you don't, yeah, every world has a flying mission where there's, I believe in all of them it's 4 things, or maybe 5, but there's a handful of things that you need to either fly through, like hoops, or destroy, like these chests. I assume they're chests, that's what I've been calling them in my head. In this one it's hoops, chests, and then I don't know what to call these little, I guess just arches. They look like, I don't know what they look like. They remind me of something. They kind of make me think of something in Cyber Chase. And then you gotta light up these lighthouses. And I do not do it all in this attempt. All of these take me several attempts. The last one, or what I assume to be the last one in the last world, when I was playing through it before, I must have been doing it for like 30 or 40 minutes, so I don't know whether or not to say like I'm good or bad at these. I mean, obviously I kind of lost track of where I was going there. But here is the successful attempt. This one didn't take me too many tries. I don't really know how the point system at the end works, because you could like miss pretty much all of them and get like 60, and then get all of them and you only get, it's either 120 or 180. I don't know how it works. I mean, I know that like how many of the things you get corresponds to how many gems you get at the end, but the number of gems you get isn't like the total score at the end on the menu, so I don't really know what to make of it. I also don't know how you get these, like, what do you call them? Like jet trails on your wings that make you go faster. I don't know what maneuver I do to make that happen, but it's usually when I'm like swooping down near water to get into those arches. Almost fucked myself out of time there. And that's the main thing, is the time, obviously. But yeah, these obviously get a lot more difficult as time goes on, but there you go, not too bad. Yeah, see, it says 120, and then, you know, a lot of times I accidentally do try again there. But yeah, then you get 300 gems if you get all this stuff. I don't know if you can get even more, like if there's something you can do that makes it that is even better. But if there is, then I guarantee you I'm not going to be the one to do it. So yeah, I'm just checking over here to make sure there's no other levels or anything else that I need to do. I kind of forgot what was over here. It was just a chest that is gone now. And so yeah, we're about ready to jump into the fucking purple goop and die, I guess. But yeah, I think I was saying earlier, I don't mean it in a demeaning way at all when I say that this is just the best way I can describe this game is just nice. Like, it's fun, it feels good to play, it's, you know, pretty straightforward and simple, but it's also charming, and there are parts of it that are genuinely challenging, and it looks great. I mean, like, I don't know, I mean, I guess, you know, we're kind of spoiled with video game stuff by now, but for 98 PS1 game, this all looks really good, and like, I think the environments are really cool and colorful, and this game, I think the reason that I instantly, like, even though I'm not great at it, and I still haven't even like finished the entire game yet, I think the reason that I like gravitated toward this game when I just started playing it on a whim as like, okay, this might be a potential LP. I know I've played a couple levels of it and liked it, but never got good at it. And then once I had finished, like, the first world, I was like, okay, well, like, this would be a great game for me to LP, because it really just gets so many basic things about being this sort of platform collectathon game right for me. Frequent and very quick saves, that's a big thing. Like, I'm of a mind that unless... Obviously, there are certain games where, like, the gameplay mechanics, it makes more sense if you can only save at certain times, but for me, like, especially with having a computer that sometimes craps out and just, like, being paranoid that I'm going to lose progress at any given moment, and yeah, speeding this up because catching this motherfucker took forever. You have to go all the way back out because he gets on top of that other platform, and then you have to go back and wait for him to respawn at the beginning, and then you can catch him. And there you go. So, yeah, but, like, this one, the save points are very frequent. They take 2 seconds, so that's great. But I'm usually of a mind that every game should just have autosave, but, you know, this is good, and the collectibles are good looking. I have no idea what happened there. They look good, like, they are straightforward and understandable about, like, which colors are which things and what you can do with them, and, you know, it's just a very, you know, like I said, simple and straightforward game. The levels are, you know, straightforward enough to not be confusing, and, you know, they're not huge, so they're not, like, it's pretty hard to get lost in them. I still managed to do it, of course, but it's not so easy to get lost in many of them. And there's just enough, like, branching paths and hidden boys and everything to, like, make it worth exploring the whole level, and more than just, like, you know, go from point A to point B and do whatever. I don't know. I feel, I mean, obviously, there probably could be more, and I'm sure other Spyro games added some more just things to the game, but I don't know. It's a nice, simple, little old 3D platformer collectathon thing that I'm at least having, so far, a pretty nice time LPing. I mean, it's... I was about to say it's weird to say, but, like, why? I was just gonna say it's just, you know, me playing it and then later on talking over it, but I don't know. It's a neat game. It's easy to follow, and it's chill. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I've somehow found a way to spend, like, 5 minutes acting like I need to apologize for thinking the game is good. I don't know. Also, another quality of this game that I enjoy, and that is interesting to me, is that, so as a kid, and honestly sometimes to this day, but not nearly as frequently as when I was a child, I would have dreams of being in, like, worlds of video games that I liked at the time. They wouldn't always look like the actual world in the game in my dream. In fact, very often it didn't look like it, like the way that it actually exactly looks. But that's kind of a thing in general, like, even to this day with my current dreams, you know, I'll have a dream about me ostensibly being in one place or another that's like an actual place that I go to in my life, but it just doesn't, the geography of it is completely wrong, or it just doesn't look like it, or very often it'll be that, like, I'll be in a place and then just, you know, go through a door or whatever, and suddenly I'm in a completely different, like, area or part of the world or whatever. Like, or just, like, the context of the place I'm in has changed, if that makes sense. Like, I'll be in a school, but then we start doing something that you would do in a house or in another public place. Like, it's very strange. There's no sort of accounting for, like, space or time continuity in my dreams, which I guess isn't that weird. Dreams, just by their nature, I guess it isn't that strange that it would happen in a dream, but, like, I don't know, I hear other people's dreams, especially Liv's dreams. Like, Liv tells me about dreams, and they have, like, a beginning, middle, and end. Like, they... Not that so much that they, you know, make sense, per se, but they follow a kind of story logic. Like, there's a thing happening in them, and the dream is about that. You know what I mean? And there might be, like, random stuff or whatever, but I don't know. It's like, but I don't have that. Like, no dream I've ever had has been like, oh, so we were doing this, and then, you know, the rest of the dream, like, nothing follows. There's no logic to what happens. It's just like every dream of mine feels like some sort of like acid dipped Robert Altman movie where I'm just encountering like a dozen different people who are either people in my actual life or that my brain just invented. And in different circumstances, and things happen, but nothing, like, adds up to anything. None of it makes sense on the face of it, and that was a bitch slap. You really got me there. That guy's hard to get because he's on that very precarious cliff, but you need to charge into him to get him because he has the thing. But yeah, that's all you gotta do. It's a little bit tricky, though. But yeah, I don't know if I'm making any sense, or, I mean, sometimes when I'm, like, describing this quality about my dreams, it just feels dumb because I feel like I just assume that's what most people's dreams are like, or that most people would agree that their dreams don't make sense all the time, but like it's more than just that. It's like there's no sort of like binding logic behind like what I'm thinking about or what's happening in the dream. I don't know. It just always puzzles me as to what information my brain is processing and how. Like, but I mean, I know that also the like psychology and origin, hey, it's Zane, of dreams isn't really like known by people all that much. Like, we don't really know why on an evolutionary level we have dreams or whatever, and like, or what we're supposed to do with them. I honestly think, like, because I know other animals have dreams, but, like, I mean, but other animals have levels of consciousness, too, but I honestly think that dreams are probably just, like, an accident of higher consciousness, of like, being, just the fact that we have a, you know, brain that there are parts of it that are always active, but sometimes we need to go to sleep. Like, I don't know if it has, like, a purpose. I know that a lot of, like, study about it is around, like, evolutionarily, why do animals dream? Like, what reason does an organism have for that trait surviving? And I honestly think it really isn't that, way, and that was bullshit, because usually I try to jump, like with this here, when he's raising the thing, you go, like, when it's up, so that, yeah, by the time he gets there, it's down, but fucking this dude, like, I timed it the same way I do every time I play this level, and for some reason it just didn't go down in time. I was, like, 1 millisecond off. Sometimes the flying and landing shit in this game can be a little bit unforgiving, but whatever. I don't know, what am I talking about? I've been talking about dreams for, like, 5 minutes, and I don't even think I said anything. But anyway, I think the reason I brought it up is because this game has that quality to it where a lot of the worlds look like worlds that if I had played it when I was a kid, I would have dreams of being in it. And the game has a very weird, I think one of the reasons that I think it's nice and that I find it fun to play and, like, relaxing to play in a way, is because it has a sort of dreamlike quality to it, just in the way that the levels look, You know, it's all of these, like, weird, sort of undefinable creatures, and, you know, you're playing a dragon. There's lots of, like, magic stuff and sparkly fairy dust shit going around. You're in the sky for a lot of them, or if not all of them. I still haven't determined whether or not the world of this game is meant to be entirely in the sky or not. I'm not a Spyro lore genius or anything. But yeah, I just can tell. If I wish that I had played this game as a kid. I've already said before, like, I honestly wish that I had, you know, played through this as a kid, or I'd caught wind of it as a kid, because it would have been right up my alley, and I probably would have had some sick-ass dreams of me being... The music as well. The music in a lot of the areas sounds like one of those... Because that's how I would know I'm supposed to be in one of those game worlds in those dreams, is that I would hear the music. And, like, I mentioned the ice cavern level. The music reminded me of the music in the Madagascar video game. I think the main reason for it is that, like, percussive, and there's, like, a whoo sound in the back, and, it reminds me a lot of the music from the Mysterious Jungle level in that game, where it has the sort of, like, you know, jungle drum beat and the sort of, like, tribal and animal, like, noises, the, like, ha and the ho, those shits. It sounds like that, and just something about the quality to it, it just reminds me of that, and that sounds exactly like the kind of thing that I would have some weird fucking dream thing about. I was talking in a stream the other night about how, it doesn't really happen anymore, but when I was a kid, I would get, like, semi-frequent auditory hallucinations when I was sleeping, and I have no idea why. Like, it's just one of many unsolved mysteries of my childhood that I don't understand. This part's pain in the ass, by the way. It's just for gems, and this is the kind of shit in these collectathon games that can be a little bit aggravating, where, you know, you just want to collect all the boys, but they're in this, like, precarious spot, and yeah, don't try to fly away without turning your camera. So this took several tries. I already got the gems from those ones, but yeah, you need to not be... If you are on the same platform when it's blowing up, it will knock you off. So you need to jump off of it, so you have to go back, but you can't really... At least I can't really, like, adequately fly to the other platform while not facing it, but it takes too long to turn the camera around in between lighting the fuse and it blowing up. So you have to get on it, turn the camera around, light the fuse, jump, fly over to the other thing, wait for it to blow up, and then fly over to the other gem, the other platform, and get the gem, and then go back. And it's a fucking pain in the ass, but whatever, I got it. And this really looked like I wasn't gonna get it to me. I'm always extremely nervous about that shit. I just don't like dying in this game. It's not fun. But anyway, yeah, so these auditory hallucinations, so, like, what would happen would be I would be in bed, and I would just have the feeling that I was hearing, it was usually a song downstairs, or, like, coming from somewhere else in the house. A frequent one was Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think it was literally just, like... Because there are some times where I would be laying in bed, and I could just, like, start thinking of the song Bohemian Rhapsody, and I could just will myself to hear it. And when I say hear it, I don't mean, like, oh, I hear it in my head. I mean, like, this feels like what it sounds to just hear a song somewhere else in the house. So Bohemian Rhapsody was a big one. The other one, very random, was the theme song to the Toon Disney show Lloyd in Space, which was on for like 2 or 3 years. I barely ever watched it, and I just would hear the theme song, and this was the first time that it happened, that I got these auditory hallucinations. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I, like, went downstairs to see if someone was watching TV, and I was like, why do I keep hearing it? And I told my mom about it, and her response, of course, was just like, okay, well, you're not allowed to watch that show because it's giving you nightmares. Because that's what it sounded like to her, was like, this show scared me. And it's like, no, Mom, my brain is fucking weird. I don't know what to do. Good times. Anyway, next time, more of this new world that I haven't talked at all about. So see you then for that.